Hey, what's up, YouTube, and everybody at large who's watching this, and who may be watching this, and who could possibly be watching this? Welcome to the V Club here. It's about anything and everything. The Villain Club, alright? You know why? Because sometimes I say things that can kind of rile people up. It could ruffle feathers. Sometimes, I'll say things that could be outlandish. But at the same time, I know that people are thinking these things. Anyhow, that's what the V Club is about. Anything and everything. If you got questions about anything, I'll answer it. You know, I'll answer to any question. I am uncensored, all right, and on everything. So let's get to it, all right. I wanted to talk about this whole Kamala debacle, all right, but I want to talk about the Democrats at large, all right. But before we do all that, it all centers around Kamala, right? Because she really, set the stage and set money on fire, right? Because of, well, I mean, she was propped up to run for president and spent, they say anywhere between $1 to $2 billion, all right, on campaigning and all that, and she obviously lost, right? And so if you ask the Democrats, oh man, she run a stellar campaign. She, under the circumstances, she ran a flawless campaign. She did the best she could in the short time frame. But when you look at it outside of the Democrats' perspective, I mean, that's a lot of money in 90 days. You know what I'm saying, or 107 days, whatever. That's a lot of money. And then it begs the question, how can you really go through all that money that quickly, right? And so a lot of things come into play. You start finding out that a lot of her stuff was fake, right? Besides the fake support, because she didn't really have any support. Because you come to find out that her support was bought, right? You've seen all this stuff out there. Let me see here. I'll pull some stuff out. Here we go. So, celebrity endorsements. So these are paid. All right. So let's just see here. They say all this bullshit about how the claims are false, but then everybody's reporting it. That's the thing. But it's still saying claims are false. So any of these names that says that supported Harris were paid, right? So for example, they mentioned. Let me see here. Well, I don't know about Angela Bassett. Alyssa Farrah Griffin, yeah. All right, Alyssa Milano. All right, let me take a step back on this one. This is not paid stuff here. Star-studded event. There we go. Spent over 10 million on star-studded events. All right, that's another thing too, right? I mean, 10 million to do that, right? And so, damn it keeps doing this to me. All right, let me just jump on here. There we go. Campaign paid Oprah far more. So you come to find out, right? It was set out there. She paid Oprah $1 million, right? And then she was hit up about it. She said, "Oh, I wasn't paid $1 million. It was my production company that was paid $1 million, right?" And it's like, well, why you got to pay her production company $1 million? So and then you come to find out, it was actually more than a million. It was like 2.5 million or something like that. And so, and it says right here, she made $500,000 payments to the media company. And other media outlets, however, said that she was paid personally for her appearance. So, Oprah doesn't want to look bad because she got paid for, just like all these other people got paid for. And you see here, the actual event ran closer to $2.5 million. That's crazy, huh? So 2.5 million. And then you start hearing other stuff out there about Beyonce getting paid 10 million. Some of the other people that got paid out there, Eminem, right? Al Sharpton, right, got paid. It's just funny how all these people have to get paid just to make an appearance. And the argument was said that Joe Rogan was free the whole time. Oh, that was that one, Call Me Daddy podcast. Supposed to reach out to the younger audience and all that, and doesn't have anywhere near the numbers of Joe Rogan, right? But still paid to even do that podcast. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? So it's just funny how that is, how ridiculous all that can be. Celebrity endorsements in 2024. All right. All the artists who have shown up in support, they're not really telling it. See, when you Google this stuff, they're not really showing. And then they'll say no evidence, right? Fact check says no evidence. But then everybody else says, even her campaigners, right, were said to have paid endorsements. So, I mean, there it is. Ah, damn it. Oh, this is just an ad. Yeah, so let me pull this up and then you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, this is ridiculous paying, these ads. I'm trying to look at this here and then they just threw this ad in here. Let's see. 4 million on private jets, 15 million on event production, 100 million to various consulting and marketing firms, 4 million in social media marketing, 1 million on Oprah Winfrey. Well, it's come to find out it's more than that now. 150,000 to Black Voters Matters Fund. And then this is just some of it, right? Again, you hear Al Sharpton, some of these other guys here as well. Let me see if we can find any sort of stuff here. Lindy Lee, though, she's been very outspoken, right? She was doing the work for Kamala, right? Trying to get all the campaign donations and all that stuff, right? And she's been out there on a media flurry pretty much trashing, and she could, speak about it nicely, but she's pretty much trashing everything.
Thank you so much. I do want to say that $1 billion in 100 days is not just run of the mill. This is astounding. And I have a duty of care to my donors who gave millions of dollars, and it wasn't easy for them to give. Some of them were paying in installments. It was a sacrifice for them. They looked for ways to give. So, people gave their hearts and souls to the campaign. They deserve a serious accounting to see why we were told that she was close or even winning in some of the swing states, but we lost all 7.
Well,
even the finance.
And that's funny because the media and all that stuff lied the whole time. That just shows you how they lied to really, really try to make it look like a certain way. And that's why it's really hard to trust media, because when you look at how many of them were stacked against Trump, right? MSNBC, NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, right? They were just lying, because you could tell the whole time that there was really nothing there. If Kamala was one of the worst vice presidents ever, even worse than like Hunter Pence, or what's his name? The Vice President Pence. I don't think it's Hunter Pence. I think that's a baseball player, but Pence, right? If she's worse than Pence, she's worse than like Dan Quayle, right? And all that stuff. That really tells you how bad of a vice president that no one really cared about, right? And to be part of a coalition, with Biden, right? To be Biden and Harris presidency, right? And Biden's one of the worst presidents in the history of the United States as well, arguably, right? As bad as Jimmy Carter, right? And so to really believe in media telling you that, oh, we're actually doing better, and you could just really see what's going on across the United States about how bad things are because of all the progressive ideologies, the crime, the inflation, all this stuff, and then you still want to believe in what these media companies were talking about, saying, oh yeah, everything's great, and oh yeah, everything is Kamala's in the lead, Biden's doing really good. Nah, I don't even think it was ever close.
And he said it was a
He answered
shock.
that question.
He,
He answered that question
I'm
today, and
sorry,
he
can
said
I
none
speak?
of the public polling showed what their internal polling was showing. They knew that. It's not their fault that
Michael,
that
may
news
I
organizations.
finish?
Yeah.
They told
Lindy,
us
Lindy, you were
that,
on the. I'm interested, Lindy. You were on the call. You were on the call today. There was this call today with the campaign, and Harris was even on the call. What did they say? We heard on the podcast, but what did they say on this call? Did they accept any blame? Did they sort of talk about
absolutely
mistakes that were
no,
made?
no. No, none. No responsibility, no accounting, no postmortem, no explanation.
Par for
All
the
they said
course.
was that she was a visionary leader, that the Biden-Harris administration was a tremendous success. We didn't hear any sort of explanation for what exactly happened. This was not a squeaker of a race. This was not a close race. This is a serious shellacking. And we need to understand why the difference, the delta between the expectations and the reality was so significant. How are you ever going to expect anyone to ever donate or to believe in the Democratic Party again?
Yeah, she's been very outspoken. She's been showing up at all these social media, or not social media, all these media, just speaking. Whoever wants to talk, speaking about it, And it's very fascinating to see, that what's been happening here. And she's, what's her, uh, she's just trying to tell it like it is, what's really happening, and why Harris. That's the thing about Democrats, right? The Democrats, progressives, and all that, they're all about everybody is a winner, everybody gets trophies, thanks for your participation, you got to be nice, and all this bullshit, right? At the same time, that's, you're talking about $2 billion, right? And she spoke about how they were self-congratulatory and all this other stuff, and that they have work to do and stuff, and it's like, really? But what happened to all that money, right? That's the question. And then you really got to take a step back, because you got to really look at how much, you know, Democrats truly are scamming the people, the country, right? Because when you look at what's been happening in this progressive agenda, to the Gavin Newsoms, the Eric Adams, all the little mayors in cities like Shangtao, Oakland. You could look at Chicago. You could look at all these progressive blue cities, right? There's all these things, and even the governors, right? Pritzker, what's her name? Kathy Hochul, and Newsom, right? And you could look at Johnston and Denver. All these blue city states have a same thing in common, right? They have an overspending problem. They cater to the migrants, and there's a lot of it that's nothing to show for. Just like how Harris went through a $2 billion to spend, 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 just par for the course of Democrats. But then a lot of it can come into question if you look into the accounting, the bookkeeping. She's even questioning it. She's the money person of the DNC, and she's even questioning where did all the money go to. So, and because she has to be the one that speaks to the people that donate, right? Harris is not really going to do it. All right, and so when you really look at it, the corruption, this is definitely corrupt. The Democrat Party is corrupt, because when you look at all these things, right? They cater to NGOs. They cut deals with NGOs, right? You see, they spend on all these frivolous programs. I mean, a lot of it's overspending too. But it makes you wonder, are they really spending that, or are they really cutting these deals to pocket that money? And so I think all this stuff about the money and all these different, blue cities and blue states that run them, that it's all just one big scam, right? that the Democrats are just scamming you. Because when you look at it, I mean, look at, for example, California, 24 billion spent on homeless, right? I've been talking about this in a lot of videos. 24 billion spent on homeless, but yet the homeless problem got worse. How? How can that be? If you spend so much money on the homeless, but the homeless problem gets worse. Well, it's obvious. And also no accounting for what happened to the money. Like no bookkeeping, no tracking of how the money was utilized. So obviously they're taking the money. They're pocketing the money. How did Gavin Newsom come up to buy a $9 million home? All right, on a salary of, a couple $100,000, right? You're looking at maybe, I mean, what does California governors make, right? We should look at that. Because, he came up to buy a $9 million home, right? California governor's salary. $224,000. All right. Oh, that's just lieutenant governor. My bad. That was back then too. All right. Let's see. Governor, let's see, does the governor get a pension? No. I want to know how much the salary is for governor of California. So this is back in 2020. Let's see. Newsom earned about $201,000 as governor in 2020. But most of his income comes from the winery and restaurant business. All right, so there you go, right? 201,000. That's not a lot for being a governor of California. All right, because my job, I'm already at this point right now. I've already at my regular job. I've already made over 100 and I don't even know where it's at right now. 100. I know it's well over 100 something thousand for sure, and I'm doing that at my day job. And so if I'm doing that, and he's only getting paid that amount of money, man, and then I guess you could say his business is, but I don't know, man. I kind of question that. So to me, all these different handouts, there's a deal in between the handouts that we don't see, right? And in terms of your deals cut with these NGOs and any other entities that are involved with having their hand out to receive money on the other end for the program, these social programs. So the sanctuary cities is a meal money for these blue city, politicians and whoever it is, mayor, governors, all that stuff, and they're just a money pit of just sucking money dry. And then you know what they do? They go back to the people, the citizens, and say, "Hey, we got to raise taxes. You guys got to pay more." And it's like, well, what happened to all our money? Oh, well, that's been put on programs. We pay the illegals, we give them handouts, and we spend like no tomorrow, and then we don't realize that we're not spending correctly. And so we got to raise taxes because you guys got to pay us more as people leave the state. man, Democrats are fucking corrupt. That's insane, right? When you really look at the bigger picture, in all these blue cities, here's drunk Kamala, right? I mean, think about it. All these places, whether it's the Pritzkers, Brandon Johnson in Chicago is just hanging on so hard. Eric Adams in New York, he's backing off a little bit here because he's like, man, I'm kind of over this, this whole, illegal stuff, and that, Trump's coming around and he's gonna, start doing this, deportations and all this stuff, and I think I might have to jump on board this deportation program because I'm not going to be the one that's going to be standing in the way and get thrown in jail here. Whereas you got people that are just standing the ground, right? Johnson of Chicago, Johnston of Denver, governor of California, that Hayden Wu chick of Massachusetts, drunk Kamala. All right, listen to what she has to say.
The outcome of this election obviously is not what we wanted. It is not what we worked so hard
She's
for.
lit. Look at her.
But I am proud of the race we ran.
Tonight, Kamala Harris not looking very joyous, delivering a pre-Thanksgiving message to her supporters, and critics are calling it a real turkey. Harris is awkwardly advising them to protect their power.
Yeah, I mean, what is this? Drunken rant?
I have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power
Look at her. She's totally wasted.
that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did.
She got that turkey neck going too. Look at
And
that
you
neck.
have the same ability to engage and inspire.
Okay, this is Harris.
Everybody can tell that she was drunk. Look at this. Paying off, bribing her interviewers, right? So that's why you see Al Sharpton right there. Yeah. She could not even get support, that she had to pay for her support. That's how bad it was. But at the same time, it's just spreading the money out to people, right? The elites and all that. Hey, you want some money here? You want some money here? Hey, you support me, right? That's kind of arrogant too, you know, on her part, thinking that she could get support by paying people. And I guess, you know, people can't be bought. And then that's just a bad look, though. But when you look at it, though, overall, how can you trust any Democrat ever again? Because we already see what's been going on here, right? All these cities that cater to illegals and doing all this bullshit spending, and then they want to tax us more to pay, right? Look at Johnson of Chicago. Originally wanted to propose taxing Chicago $300 million in property debt proposal to pay for their budget shortfall, right? Because all these cities have budget shortfalls for these blue cities. And so, you know, how can you trust a Brandon Johnson when you say he would never do that? And now he's asking to do that. How can you trust the governor of California who's a snake oil salesman? All right, trying to get rid of our gas, trying to get rid of everything, going green, making us do everything battery when we don't have the infrastructure, but raise our gas prices at the same time and try to blame the gas companies. I mean, all this stupid shit, right? And then, you know, you look at Kamala. She's already failed twice. She failed to run for president, right? She stepped down. She failed again for the second time. And there's talk she might try to run again for the third time. Is she trying to strike out 3 times or what? How can you trust her spending $2 billion in 3 months? How can you trust Denver, Colorado Mayor Johnson, who claims that, oh, it's going to be like Tiananmen Square if you coming on here and rolling up, trying to take our illegals away, right? Meanwhile you're catering to the illegals. I know, it's just funny to me how that is. You know, how all these fools, right? The big blue cities. Shane Tao was corrupt because the FBI raided her place because she has some sort of deal with the garbage company in Alameda County. Or no, I'm sorry, it's a recycling company. There was some sort of weird deal cut that they're still trying to get to the bottom of. And that was corrupt right there. But at the same time, she was soft on everything anyways, right? Overspending, couldn't budget. And meanwhile, the crime has gotten worse, even though she's claiming to be better. Businesses shut down, and budget's a mess, right? You look at San Francisco, she got voted out. Same problems. She got voted out. She didn't get recalled, but she got voted out. Because it was too little too late, right? You let the place run amok. Then in the final few months before election, you try to clean things up and you act like you care about police once again when you really don't. Then you try to run again, you know. It's like Kamala, right? She was supposed to be border czar, didn't go to the border up until a couple months ago, and then try to act like everything's good. We closed the border, all that stuff. They only closed the border temporarily just for the election purpose. And then right now the border's right wide back open again, right? Because that was the plan the whole time. We're closing it right now to make it look good. Like they really, Democrats really think you people are stupid. That's the problem here. They really think you're stupid and that they can just continue to tax you, Democrats, right? They just think that they can just continue to tax you. And tax you and tax you and tax you over and over and over again to pay for their stupidity. Right? And then meanwhile, if you don't support them, then you're a racist, you're a bigot. They insult you with every name in the book. Right? Look at Obama telling the black residents that, oh, if you don't vote for Kamala, that you're a bigot, you're a misogynist, right? To his own people, black people. I mean, what kind of shit is that? So yeah, Democrats, man, they are definitely scum. I mean, when you really look at it, I mean, how can you support Jewish, but yet you won't support them in their cause to eradicate terrorists? And the list goes on and on. They're so bad. The Green New Deal, you obviously know that's just a money ploy for the Democrats to pocket money and make us suffer. Because what benefit are we having with this Green New Deal? Electric cars are expensive. Electricity is expensive. No infrastructure. Range is terrible. But you guys are going to force us to go into electric cars. What kind of shit is that? So, it just goes on and on. Obamacare, that was bad. I mean, that's going back several years, but it's bad because we're paying for it for other people's support. That's a Democrat move. Why we got to pay for other people? So, it's just so corrupt. Democrats are definitely scammers. When you look at the big picture, how can you support any of them? Because it's not a bad, it's a very bad look. Definitely not a good look. Look at Hochul of New York, right? Supporting all these illegals coming in, but yet now, at first, he's kind of speaking about resisting mass deportation. Okay, every one of these places that want to resist mass deportation, sure. All right, you just won't get any federal funding. Go ahead, support them. See how far that will go. If you cut off the supply of money to illegals, right? If you cut off access to handouts, right? The place to live, the food, the cards, cash, whatever, right? Imagine if you don't offer that. There's people that's still going to come, but not in the numbers that are coming right now. Right? Is that crazy? But how much of all this are Democrats skimming the books? Right? This is just one big scam overall. And obviously the Harris campaign was a big scam. And she won't even address the donors. She has other people speak for her. And she's just going to run off that way too, as the scammers do in that world of money. Oftentimes they'll scam and just run off. Harris hid for a while. Then when she finally addressed her, staff, it wasn't anything to do with, how can we do better, what the problems were, addressing things, right? It was just more like, hey, thanks for the support, guys. Everybody gets a trophy for helping, yay. And it's like, wow. That's typical Democrat progressive ideals, right? It's just everybody gets a trophy and, a pat on the back. There's no losers, right? We're all winners, right? It's just funny. But so that's where it's at here. You got to really look at the big picture, right? And think about it. That Democrats are big time scammers, modern day, out in the open scammers. And maybe you don't realize it, but just think about it. Think about all the stuff we just talked about, right? And so, this is funny though. And I mean, Harris might as well just open up. If you ask her questions on her drunken rant, she might have just answered him truthfully. You know what I'm saying? But no wonder they wanted to keep her under wraps because, all the stuff she spews out of her mouth um, is a bunch of nonsense. And it's so obvious that even on whether she's sober or drunk, that she's not very good at public speaking at all. And she tries to talk like she's intelligent, but she really isn't that intelligent. She kind of just tries to talk her way through it, but she's not that good at it. It's terrible. But anyhow, just think about it though. I just want you guys to really think about how the Democrats is a one big money scamming party. Seriously, I seriously want you guys to think about that. Think about it. Let me look at it. Al Sharpton, all these people that got paid. For what? Shit, pay me. I'll put Kamala. I mean, shit. So, watch. You'll see in the upcoming days or weeks, months, whatever, where what happened to all the money. And I bet a lot of it she might have held on to herself. Right? Clutching that purse. Shit, they didn't even talk about how her staffers weren't even paid because they're $20 million in debt. How can you hand all that money out and still be in debt? Over $2 billion. Massive overspending. But then she goes to Hawaii and vacations on a $1,300 a day hotel for 2 weeks. Must be the life. So yeah, think about it. All right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the truth though. But we do need Trump to clean up this mess. And luckily, people were smart enough to really look at what's been going on and took it to the polls and voted for the winner. So think about that. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. And other than that, subscribe to the bell icon. I'll see you next one.